Okay, so hey, I'm KD.
I'm Sham.
And together we're Boxing and Bantz. So we are joined by superstar in the making, Super Youssef Khoumari, who has a perfect professional record of 11 wins and 1 draw. And of course is from our hometown, North Wheezy.
So Youssef, talk to me a little bit about how you got into boxing, what attracted you to it, and how old you were when you started.
I started boxing about 14 years ago. I was 10, if I've got it right, about 10 years old.
Wow.
And I started with a martial art, so I started doing taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for a while. I got to the stage of a first dan black belt, but I felt something because it's very non-contact. The whole thing was based around non-contact self-defense.
Yeah.
And I felt of a level I could take myself, I could push myself to. Boxing was always something I had interest in. Me being from the Philippines, I had to be a big Manny Pacquiao fan, otherwise my mum would have thrown me out the house. So
yeah.
I was always,
oh.
And so I was always a fan of boxing, and I thought, you know what, I might as well give it a try. One day I walked into my first boxing gym, and it just went from there, and boxing has been my life ever since.
Okay, so that goes on to my next question. Obviously, you said, you're from the Philippines. So Manny Pacquiao is obviously from there as well. So did he have, obviously was you inspired by his boxing career and his progression in the boxing industry?
Yeah, most definitely. I'd say more his backstory was what inspired me. His story about how he sort of like the rags to riches story, where he came from nothing. He had to suffer young, and he changed around, and now he's living a good life. So that sort of showed me that whatever you put your mind to and whatever you dedicate yourself to, you can succeed in. Mm-hmm. So that really pushed me, and it just went hand in hand that he was a boxer, and I wanted to be a boxer myself. So that's what really inspired me and pushed me to want to pursue boxing and be the best me, be the best I can be, to make my people proud, my family proud, and the people in my area proud as well.
That makes sense.
He's a good idol to have.
Yeah,
actually,
he is.
Well,
He's a role model,
one of my favorite boxers, actually.
Yeah.
So let's take it back a little bit to your pro, debut fight to Andy Harris, 2017. What do you remember of how you felt going into that fight? Was it nerves? Was it, excitement? How did you feel at the time?
Before that fight, that's the most nervous I've ever been in my whole career, amateur, pro. I was so nervous. It's just, I think what it was for me was the pressure of having sold X amount of tickets and having my people, pay their hard-earned money to come and watch me. And I wanted to really impress them and make them feel that they've spent their money on something worthwhile.
Yeah.
So, feeling so nervous and having a lot of pressure on myself to impress. And like another little funny story as well was I didn't know the pro game had different kind of boxing gloves. Boxing gloves. And
so
it's a lot more like, they call it the hurt business. So it's a lot more, towards hurting your opponent. So when they gave me the gloves initially, and I felt the padding on the gloves, it felt like they had no padding. So I pressed down on the glove and I felt my knuckles. I was asking the guy to give me the gloves. I said, something must be wrong here. These gloves have no padding in it. Because I'm used to coming from the amateurs or from sparring where there's a lot of padding and it's very safety first and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he turned around to me and goes, what do you want? Like, this is boxer, did it?
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, took the gloves. I even took them to my coach and I was like, coach, are you sure these are all right? And he looked at me as well and goes, listen, like, man up, man. That's how it
And you had to man up, isn't it?
I had to man up.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, okay, just going back to, obviously, Andy Harris, you got the stoppage in the 4th round. How did you feel about that? What was the feeling?
Like a massive relief.
Yeah.
Felt like I built up a pressure on myself to perform, because there was a lot of sort of talk in the build-up and a lot of people expected a certain performance from me. And I felt like getting the stoppage in the end, the people what they came to see. Because to be honest, winning on points against him would have felt like a loss to me.
Yeah.
Get the stoppage. I really, really wanted to get the stoppage. I trained to get the stoppage.
Yeah.
And, it was just like a massive relief on my shoulders. Obviously, as well, my first ever pro fight, something I've worked through my whole life from when I first walked into the boxing gym. It's an amazing feeling. It's hard to explain, you know. It's just the whole hard work of all them years training as a kid up until then. It all sort of paid off at that moment, and it just felt amazing.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, in terms of your fighting style, because we've watched a few of your fights, and you know, as impressed as I am, I noticed that your fighting style is quite, you know, you're on the back foot, you know, a fair bit, and you box from the ropes a little bit. You know, do you think that might have an impact on how the judges might view your fights or your performance or how they score you?
Yeah, I mean, looking back at not my last fight, the one just before when I fought for the English title, the 10-rounder. Obviously, the fight ended in a draw. And going back to the drawing board with my coach, we said, you know, that kind of style of sitting on the ropes and catching shoulders and on my gloves, the judges, they might not really understand that kind of style of boxing because that's more something from...
Yeah, you're right about that one.
Yeah, so because of that, we're sort of trying to switch up our game now and be a little bit more aggressive. I'm trying to be a lot more aggressive. I'm trying to work on it in my sparring and, you know, just box the way the judges want to give me the decisions for, because looking back at that fight, I believe I won the fight. The majority of people I'm around believe I won the fight. But it's all that matters is the three judges at ringside, and you know, one gave it to him, or one gave it a draw, or one gave it to me. So it's all about impressing the judges. So I'm gonna try and start being more aggressive. Still keep that style though. I don't want to lose that, because that's sort of part of my
essence, isn't it? Exactly. Yeah. So you know, and
that's
the thing is, you know, from my perspective, anyway, I think we're going to go on to talk about that fight a little bit. But you know, from my perspective, even when you were on the ropes, you were still landing solid punches.
Yeah, and they were clean.
Him, you know, more actually than your opponent was. So you know, we can see that. But I do wonder if, you know, judges like different things in boxers, you know. So
and that's going to determine the scores at the end. So Well, so anyway, going on to my next question, you've practically answered it, but obviously you fought Liam Dillon and you got the draw. We thought you won.
Definitely.
Commentators thought you won as well, a fair bit. But obviously, how did your side think the fight went, and what did they say that you should improve on?
The majority of people around me, my coach, everyone in my team, and a lot of the people in boxing that I know, they all sort of thought I should have took the fight. I mean, don't get...
I agree.
And I know there was a lot of close exchanges in the fight, but for me, boxing has always been about landing clean punches.
Yeah.
Never been about just putting my head down and doing all that kind of stuff and punching arms. And you know, looking back at the fight, I thought I landed the cleaner punches. So I personally think I won the fight. All my team think I won the fight, but you know, like I said earlier, we're in the UK and the judges seem to favour aggression. So it's just about my game, adding more to my arsenal, not losing what makes me as a boxer and my boxing identity, but you know, adding a few things just to impress the judges a bit more. And you know, hopefully we get the rematch of him, because you know, I want to put it right. And
I'd love to see it.
That would be really good. I would be really pleased to see you win that and be able to just walk away and say, yeah, I've got that one.
Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully done, because I mean, the rematch, they proposed the rematch to me, but I believe the rematch deserves a bigger platform than what they proposed, because they proposed on the same sort of platform, and I believe that kind of fight, because of how people spoke about it after, regardless of the scorecard, I mean, then people really enjoyed the fight. They thought it was a really good fight. So I thought, you know, that maybe a TV platform or just something better than what it was for the first one.
Okay. And so obviously you're now under, you know, Dillian Whyte's management. You know, how did that come about?
How that came about was Dean started coming to the boxing gym in Neasden.
Oh, right.
So Dean Whyte started passing through and doing a little bit of training. And then one day he just said he's gonna bring his brother down. And then I happened to be there that day when Dillian came down. Met him. That was the first time I met him. And you know, we just clicked. I mean, he's cool, I'm cool. We just clicked. Started talking about boxing. And then how it happened is my coach ended up becoming one of his coaches. So for the fight that he fought in Saudi, my coach was in the corner.
Oh, right. Okay.
Link up happened, and then eventually my coach became his head coach. And then through there, I started to see him a lot more, because he was coming in the gym every other day, and I'd bump into him. he'd even take my corner in sparring, give me little tips. And then it just happened that one day he said, you know, he spoke to my coach and said he wants to manage me. And by coincidence, my contract with my previous manager had just finished, or it was sort of coming to the end. I think there was a month or 2 months left. So just by coincidence, it was just good timing, and you know, and then I moved forward with Dillon.
Definitely sounds like it's meant to be.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're currently in Portugal. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going over there with your training? And how is it training in a different climate?
I think out here it's almost perfect for a training camp. I was here for the first Quebecin camp, and it was literally just, you know, a train, eat, sleep, train, eat, sleep. That's all it was. Train, go back to eat, sleep. It's like one of them Rocky movie training camps. It's just, it's just war, training. That's like an army camp.
Yeah.
Now it's the same thing. It's just we train, go back to the room, train, go back to the room. Everyone's fully focused.
Yeah.
And I think a positive about being out here is, you know, you get a little bit of the good weather. It's not as hot as it was, but I mean, it does help, you know, your joints and that sort of thing. So it's good. We're around good people as well. You know, there's a lot of banter in the team.
Yeah.
Everyone seems well.
That's the main thing as well. At least you have a bit of banter. It's not all just hard work, you know, no play. Yeah.
Because camp is hard as it is. I mean, you're pretty much living on rations in terms of diet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. How's that going? What are you even eating? Rabbit food.
Literally, rabbit. I don't like to, when I'm in camp, I don't really eat meat. I just stick to fish and vegetables.
Okay. Yeah.
And like that. So, yeah, we're living off rations and training hard every day.
Wow.
We need
Do you get actual, you know, social time for yourself to kind of go out and, you know, go to the beach or go to a bar or whatever, you know, like go and eat or whatever? Do you get time for that?
Out here, the last time I was here, we had Sunday. Sunday was the only day we could really go about and do our thing.
Okay.
But other than that, training twice a day, it's like by the time you finish training, it's just, you get back to the room about 8, 9 o'clock and you just want to sleep because
drained.
Yeah, just so tired. And some of the guys would say, yo, do you want to go down to they got a little marina down the road. They said, do you want to go down? And a lot of times I was just saying, nah, I'm all right. I just want to stay in my bed and watch Netflix or something because I'm tired.
Are you heavily monitored?
I was sharing the room with my coach for the first time. So
you couldn't do nothing. Yeah, you couldn't do nothing.
I had to behave.
Yeah.
So you're being trained at the moment by Javier Miller, is that right?
Yeah.
And you know, what's the relationship like, you know, between you guys, and what's he like as a trainer?
Zav, to go back to where it started, me and Zav started training, I think it was 6, 7 years ago. The amateur at the time. And I actually knew him before he started training me. I knew him from around the circuit. I used to see him at a lot of events, and we always got on. And I got to a point in my amateur career where I felt I needed to move on from where I was, and I thought Xavier was the best person to go to, just in terms of how easily we got along and how cool he was as a person.
Yeah.
So I went to him, and since then, we just gel. I don't think we've ever had an argument in the 7, 8 years we've been together, boxer and coach. Yeah, we just get along. I mean, he tells me, do this, I do. I think what it is with the boxer and coach relationship as well, the boxer always got to remember to have that respect for the coach, where if the coach says, you know, you've got to run, or you've got to train, you've got to do this, the boxer always have to just accept it and say yes, because you got to have that level of respect. It's like having a kung fu master or a karate master where the sensei is always going to have the final say. Argue with anything he says, I just get on with it. If he says I got to train, I got to spar 10 rounds and I don't really want to do it, I just do it. Yeah. My face that I don't want to do it, but I just get on with it.
But you have to do it.
But yeah, relationships, we turned pro together. We always plan to turn pro eventually. So we turned pro in 3 years ago, 2017 it was. And yeah, then we just get along. I mean, training's good, everything's been good.
So just touching on COVID, how's COVID treating you anyway? Didn't ask that.
Do you know what? At the beginning, it affected me a lot because remember the lockdown in London where everything was shut, the gyms were shut.
Yes. How can we forget?
I I couldn't train. I couldn't go to the gym. The
Yeah.
most I could do the one exercise a day, which was, it turned out to be a long, boring run. So I was getting frustrated with myself and just frustrated at the situation, because for some reason I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I thought it's going to be like this for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I was getting frustrated with it all. But because of the whole COVID thing, Dillon's fight with Povetkin, the first one, kept on getting pushed back. So it was supposed to be in May, then it kept getting pushed back until COVID finally relaxed. So what ended up happening is Xavier called me and said, you know, you might as well come to Portugal and train for the training camp. And I jumped at it with both arms, and I think I was on the plane 2-3 weeks later, and I said, yeah, I'm going out there, because out here there wasn't such a strict lockdown.
Yeah.
Like gyms were open and all that. So I just came out here, and I was lucky to be training. Like, everyone was messaging me on Insta and that, and
They were well gel. So how would you feel if obviously you was proposed to fight and there's no crowd? So there's no chanting, there's no nothing, just you and the other opponent. How would you feel?
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
But what they say, at the end of the day, a ring is a ring. If a ring's in the gym, if it's in an arena, it's a ring. It's a fight at the end of the day. So
exactly. Yeah.
if you're a great fighter, you should be able to adapt to the situation. And it's going to be weird because, you know, fighting with no crowd. I mean, to be honest, I have fought in places where there's like 2-3 people in the crowd and there's nobody. It's a bit different where you're fighting, there's no people, but you've got all these TV cameras around you and the things being broke up live on TV, but that feeling isn't there.
Yeah.
It'll be weird. I'll be totally up for.
Yeah.
Good. And so obviously there's lots of fights coming up, you know, from now to the end of the year. Are there any ones in particular that you're excited to watch? You're looking forward to watching?
I'm excited to watch Lomachenko tonight against Lopez. I don't be up for it, but I'm gonna try. But I don't know. I get tired at midnight. I just want to go to sleep.
Knackered.
I have to have a nap and then wake up.
But I'm intrigued because for some reason I feel like Lomachenko hasn't fought someone that brings as much danger as Lopez.
Yeah,
He's got.
I agree. Yeah.
It's gonna be a different challenge for him, I think, that this fight tonight.
It's gonna be very interesting. So what do you think separates you from other fighters in your weight division?
I think what separates me, what separates me is my ability to adapt to situations in the ring. So a lot of people have seen me box off the ropes, you know, box back foot, but not a lot of people know when I first started, I was a pressure fighter. Okay. So we sort of mixed kind of style. I used to come forward a lot. I used to take one. I was a bit of a hooligan. I was just throwing a lot of punches and and the thing is, I can go back to that. Not the whole taking punches and stuff. My defense has improved a lot, but I can pressure fight. I can box off the ropes. I can be aggressive. You know, I can box technical. I can box in the middle of the ring. A lot of people don't know that I can do that, and I think that separates me from a lot of the other guys. A lot of the other guys, where if they're a pressure fighter, they're a pressure fighter, or if they're a counter puncher, they're a counter puncher. That's all they can do. Once you take them off that game, they can't really do anything else. But I feel like for me, like I said, I can fight on the inside, I can fight on the outside. Like when Liam Dillon got me on the inside, he probably thought once he gets me on the inside, he's going to kill me. But when he getting uppercuts, hooks, body shots, he was getting everything. He didn't know I could fight on the inside like that. Yeah. So I feel like my ability to box anywhere in the ring and adapt to any situation is what sets me apart from everyone else.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so in saying that, who would you say your dream fight would be with, and where would it be held?
My dream fight?
Your dream fight.
My dream fight in terms of, I'd say, like in recent times, as in now, I want to get the match with Liam Dillon first. Yeah. And I want to right and you know, knock him out.
do it, please.
I think you will.
We can get it done. I'd love that fight. But I think down the line, there's a lot of guys out there that I believe have a lot of clout in boxing, but don't deserve it in a way. I don't want to sound like a hater.
Yeah.
But
I know.
For example,
yeah.
I feel like Ryan Garcia is someone who sort of had a quick route to the top, and I feel like I'd love to fight him because I believe I'm better than him, and I reckon I'd knock him out as well. So I love to get in the ring with Ryan Garcia and show and expose him in front of the whole world.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
what a fraud he is.
I love to see that one.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to you fighting next, trust me. A long way off, but what would you want to be remembered in your career? What would you want everyone to remember you? Let's say, you know, obviously at the end of your career, what would you want everyone to remember you by? Even if it's just one thing.
I'd love to be remembered for bringing back boxing to what it was, say, in the 80s and 90s, where everyone was fighting everyone. There wasn't no politics. There was politics, but not politics as the way it is today.
Oh.
I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd like to return. I'd like to remember that someone who returned boxing to the way it was in the 80s and 90s, because, you know, in them times, everyone was fighting everyone. Number one would fight number two. The champion would fight number one. There weren't really no politics involved and purse bidding and, he wants too much money. None of that. There was just the best fight the best. And I want to go back to that and bring boxing back to how it was, and the best fighting the best. Because that's what I want to do. When I get to the top, I just want to fight anyone. Whoever's up there can get it. I want to fight anyone and everyone. And, you know, let's go. Let's bring boxing back to it.
Go get it.
So it's like my manager Dillian. He wants to fight everyone and anyone. And
yeah.
Back to what it was as well. So, you know, like he says, maximum violence. Like he says, isn't it?
Maximum violence.
Love that. And so at the moment, have you got any fights kind of lined up? When can we expect to see you back in the ring, do you think?
We're possibly looking at something in November, December time. So I'm out here now, staying in shape in case I get the call.
Yeah. Keep us posted.
Yeah, please.
yeah. I'm staying ready. So if I get the call, I'm ready to go, whether it's in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. And yeah, man, but wherever it is, I'm going to be ready for it. They better be ready for me because I'm bringing all the smoke.
You're coming with that heat, yo.
Of course.
Okay, well, important question.
Okay.
Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn?
You know what? It's a tough question. I mean, you know what? It's not really a tough question. I mean, they're both good promoters. I mean, Frank's been around for years and years. He's been around since the Don King era.
Yep.
He's promoted guys, the Frank Brunos, you know, the list goes on. But in terms of today, I feel like Eddie Hearn's got the bigger platform. He can provide the bigger opportunities. Yeah. As you saw, like even when their shows go head to head, like we had Fight Camp during COVID, and Frank Warren had his own sort of fight camp, and you can see the difference in production, the difference in the quality of the fight cards. Like, I'll be honest, like, no disrespect to Frank and them guys, but like sometimes I watch 2-3 fights on a Frank card and I turn it off because I just get bored. Whereas when I watch one of Eddie's cards, it's 50-50 fights. Yeah. You know, the top feels great.
It's rolling. So, it keeps going. Yeah, you want to watch. Yeah. Rolling.
I think even before COVID, Eddie's shows were just that touch better, and I think the production on the build up to the shows and the show itself, you know, when AJ fights at Wembley or he fights in a stadium, they've got all the fireworks and stuff going off. So
really good production. Yeah.
Sort of took boxing to another level in the UK. So for me, it's got to be Eddie Hearn.
Okay.
Nice answer.
Okay, well, Youssef, best of luck in your up and coming fights, in your boxing career, and just tell the people where they can find you on social media and also your sponsors.
I'm on Instagram, super_Youssef, and I'm on Facebook as well, which is my full name is Youssef Daniel Fabro Khoumari. And yeah, quick shout out to my sponsors, Tiger Bay, Esco Barbers, KMT Apparel, and I'm missing one, Ealing Boards and Timbers as well, and also Box Fit. And thank you to Boxing and Bantz for having me on.
You're most welcome. Thanks for joining us.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us.
So we are Katie and Sham at Boxing and Bantz, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Do the damn thing.